Look at this. Look at this. And this. Now look at this. And this. If you're like me, you think the first three images are pretty good, but the second two, not so much. Well, this is an example of DLSS 5, Nvidia's newest proposed upgrade to DLSS, even though it honestly should be its own thing unrelated to it. Now, if you've heard about this, you probably also heard about the overwhelming negative public reaction to it. And although I think that half the time the faces do look subjectively worse, I also think that their criticisms are overblown. Even though I think that this tech on faces looks worse in Hogwarts Legacy and half of Resident Evil Requiem, even though it doesn't puff Grace's lips like so many claim, Nvidia just showed the transition from DLSS 5 from off to on a weird point in her character animation. It does make her look like she has ever-present makeup through emphasizing, not adding, certain details that already exist in the game but are, through the normal in-game shading, relatively subtle. It's similar in Hogwarts Legacy. It emphasizes all the creases in the old lady and the main character, which makes them both look older than it seems the game was going for. But that's seemingly how DLSS 5 seems to work. And I don't know if it can even work with a slider, given that this is the whole point of how upscaled the game is. Because if they make the effect less noticeable, it would probably make everything in the background less improved, because I'm not too confident that this software has the ability to affect faces and background details differently unless it is specifically set not to modify faces. But that comes with its own problems. First of all, it can look jarring if all of the backgrounds look super detailed but the faces look normal. And also, I don't know if there are going to be artifacts between the faces and the environment next to the faces when the faces move, because even the current form of DLSS isn't perfect for moving objects, although it is a lot better than it used to be. But all mismatches between the super detailed environment and the environment next to the face would be mismatched along with the fact that it has to guess what the background is. And if the face is in a different style, I feel like that might cause problems for the model, making it more noticeable. But admittingly, Nvidia might solve all of these problems by its release using AI wizardry. I mean, people didn't think real-time ray tracing would be possible anytime soon in 2018 before Nvidia announced the RTX 20 series. And even though it can't run ray tracing as complex as some examples like path tracing today, it could still run certain forms of ray tracing that still look better than normal rendering. But I think it's better to be cautiously optimistic than blindly believe everything will work out perfectly. The truth is, we don't know how well this will work. In its current form, it requires two 5090s to run. And although it will almost certainly be less demanding when it finally releases, whenever that is, it still might be too demanding to be worthwhile for anyone that doesn't have a 5090. And this simply becomes a pipe dream for people who aren't insanely rich or in the far future, given the significantly decreased speed of raw computing power advancements in recent years. And by the time that happens, graphics might already be advanced enough to not even need DLSS 5, and its only real use would be for games not popular enough to be RTX remixed with significantly better graphics. And in the far future, RTX Remix can improve current games that will be old in the future. And since it's artificially, would almost certainly not be as good as a native RTX Remix port. But this is all speculation. The truth is, none of us truly know what the future holds, and any far future speculation is simply wishful thinking. But what do you think? Is the future bright? Is the future closer than we realize, like with real-time ray tracing? Or are you cautiously pessimistic, like me, assuming good things will happen in the future, but that this future is far enough away to not be worthwhile speculating over? Because even though things change, the change is so slow that in regards to our lifetime, it might be more accurate to say nothing ever changes.